A revolution is quietly rolling across pastures and kitchens all over the U.S.
Its aim is to overthrow some deeply held beliefs about the fat in our diet.
You're right, Michelle. Those revolutionaries say banishing those misconceptions can make us all a lot healthier.
In recent years, a main course like this for lunch or dinner was viewed by many as a recipe for heart-stopping disaster. Ditto for things like eggs with bacon or sausages in the morning. It was all part of the low-fat, no-fat approach. But now, dissenting views are getting increasing attention based on the belief that we all need healthy fats in our diet every day for true well-being. Finding those fats has a lot to do with differentiating between feedlots and similar places known as CAFOs, confined animal feeding operations, and the alternative of pasture-raised, grass-fed food sources.
So what do we mean by pasture-raised or grass-fed? We mean that these animals are truly outside, eating green grass in the sunlight.
Sally Fallon Morell is founder and president of the Weston A. Price Foundation. The foundation's a major proponent of a return to healthy traditional fats in the diets of all of us, and that means supporting the grass-fed movement.
This ensures that their meat and fat are rich in vitamins A, D, and K and minerals, and also they won't have the hormones and antibiotics and all the other nasty stuff that they're giving to these animals in confinements. You know, the confinement raising of livestock is an abomination on so many levels, to the animals themselves, to the environment, but it hurts us because the critical nutrients we need from those animal foods disappear when we put our animals in confinement. There's something called CLA, conjugated linoleic acid, which is in the fat of grass-fed animals, which is an anti-cancer substance, helps keep you lean, helps you build muscle mass. But there's familiar things too. For example, folic acid. Folic acid is 50 to 100 times higher in the grass-fed eggs. And vitamins A, D, and K we tested some butter and lard, and we found that they were much higher in vitamins A and D if it came from grass-fed animals.
Joseph Heckman is an urban farmer and a professor of soil science at Rutgers University.
We're beginning to understand how important pasture and grass feeding is to livestock. Getting the livestock out on the land gets them in sunlight, and the animals are making vitamin D. The eggs turn out to have that dark orange yolk, and that's a lot of nutrients that are coming from the grass.
To test that, we compared some eggs I bought at a local chain store with eggs from the chickens in his backyard.
It looks a little different.
Oh, wow.
John Wood co-owns one of the largest grass-fed direct-to-consumer operations in the country.
The bovine is a really interesting animal. They're very efficient at converting green grass into these lipids and proteins. And the amazing thing is that the omega-6-3 ratio in these grazing animals comes out 2 to 1, 3 to 1, which is equal to or better than fish and chicken. And the conventional animal is 20 to 1. So we have too many omega-6s in the diet. So going to grass-fed beef is a perfect way to lower your omega-6 level, increase your omega-3 levels.
Physicians like Jeff Morrison of New York City agree.
If a cow is fed grass, it's a healthy option.
And he says the nutritional value of grass-fed beef is improving.
It's about rotating the fields properly, about having the right nutrition in the grass, because all that grass nutrition gets transferred into the cow that we benefit from. So it's a complete system. People all over the country are beginning to recognize how important it is to eat well for good health.
You know, this grass-fed movement is really interesting to me because I'm a real protein person, especially if I'm trying to lose weight, because I find that protein helps me sustain my energy. But I have some questions about all this.
Shoot.
Well, first, how hard is it to find grass-fed meat? Because I live in New York City, and I find it's not in the supermarkets. I see the meat with the no hormones and stuff like that, but I've only seen it in one specialty shop, and every time I get there, it's sold out. So what am I supposed to do? Well,
that doesn't surprise me. And, you know, that's kind of typical. It's kind of a good news, bad news situation because grass-fed is starting to show up in markets. More people are starting to ask for it. But it can also not be easy to find. So we do have a couple options.
I'm thinking that one of those options could be the local farmers.
Exactly right. In those local farmers markets, you're likely to find some grass-fed products there.
If not there, what about the Weston A. Price Foundation? Would they be able to help us?
Good idea. They have about 500 local chapters all across the country. You can go to their website and they can connect you up with the local people who can connect you up with the local sources. And by the way, it's also possible to find grass-fed products online and have them shipped right to your door. And we have links for you about that also on our website.
I just have to say, I love that, so convenient. But my next question is, can we raise enough food for all of us using this grass-fed technique? I thought the whole point of feedlots and chicken things, which I hate, I think it's awful, is that those methods seem to be more productive.
You don't like those little cages where the chickens are
Yeah,
stuck?
no, I don't like that. Oh.
Well, that's a good question. I mean, the whole issue is productivity and can we raise enough? And I talked with Professor Heckman about that. He, by the way, is very confident it can be done.
We have, roughly speaking, about 80% of our land and just a few grain crops that are row crops. And so this huge amount of land devoted to that, and only a small amount, perhaps roughly maybe 20% in pasture. We should just perhaps reverse that and put most of it in pasture and have a small fraction in row crop grains.
And Professor Heckman says pasture-raised farms deliver not only better food, but also more fertile soil.
That's all fascinating, but isn't this going to cost a lot more money?
Again, that's a frequently raised question, and it all depends on how you calculate the cost of staying healthy.
I discussed this recently with Dr. Nicholas Gonzalez, a nationally known expert on nutrition.
First of all, the cost of organic is going down because more and more farmers are doing good quality organic. My local supermarket now has grass-fed beef. Why do they have it? Because they're interested in agriculture? No, because people demand it, and if they don't provide it, someone else will. So you have to look at it as an investment that's for your health, the health of your family, and the fact is it is becoming increasingly cheap. Getting sick is expensive. There is nothing more expensive than being ill. Good food makes you healthier. When you're healthier, you achieve more, you actually earn more, you live longer. That's pretty good. So in terms of cost benefit, I think the cost is this compared to the benefit up here.
Okay, that revolution you talked about at the beginning of this report,
Yeah?
I think it's happening.
I think you're right, Michelle. And as always, if our viewers want more details on the experts or the organizations we've talked about in this, we can link them to you on the Healing Quest website.
But right now, we're heading into the kitchen for a little fun with our friends from Cookus Interruptus.